please stand.
Thank you, Mary. Let's bow our heads. Our Father, we come to you humbly this morning. We ask you to be with those that's been in the line of hurricanes. Father, see to their needs, mend them, heal them, and bring them back strong. Father, we also ask you to be with us as we make our decisions today. And thank you for all the wonderful blessings you've brought into all of our lives. We ask that we may recognize them as blessings and use them as such. Father, we ask all these things in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, and Jeremy, would you lead us in our pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Okay, at this time we need an approval of our agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Glad you could join us, Don.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have a proclamation to present, and they had a program for it yesterday, but as we as the council were invited, but we could not attend because we were tied up on the base. And I think we made some very important contacts at the base. They did a great job of presenting their programs, and a lot of information we gained yesterday, and look forward to working with them. And the base wanted to let us know that they were interested in working with the communities, and we know of some things that we can definitely work with the base with. And so we do appreciate that chance of meeting with them, and look forward to working with the base in a lot of the things. So, but anyway, this is like this past week was Constitution Week, and we do have a proclamation for it, and I will read it. Proclamation for Constitution Week. Whereas September the 17th, 2020 marks the 233rd anniversary of drafting the Constitution of the United States by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it fitted and proper to ready, study, and preach the greatest document of human liberty and to protect the freedoms set forth in the Bill of Rights. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document, and it is a memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the institution of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September the 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, I, Douglas C. Medlin, as Mayor of Surf City in the state of North Carolina, do here proclaim the week of September the 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Surf City, North Carolina, to be affixed this day, the 18th of September, in the year of our Lord, 2020. And that the Constitution is something that we do hold dear. I think every one of us feel the same way about that. And of course, the Bill of Rights goes right along with it. So I know a lot of people may look at the Constitution one way, and some people may look at it another way, but it all gives us the rights that we can do that. So it gives us the right to say what we want to say and to proclaim what we want to proclaim. So that's the whole deal with the Constitution, is our freedom, and it was something that we didn't have before we started the United States. And we want to continue it that way, and we owe a lot of gratitude and gratitude and everything else to the men and women in our armed forces for helping us to keep that Constitution going. All right, we need an approval on the consent agenda.
I'm making a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you, carried. Okay, I'll turn it over to the town manager at this time for our town update. Monteith, because I don't think he's here, right?
No, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, and thank you. That's Matt Britton, our project manager, and hadn't heard back from him, but I'll be happy to kind of give a brief update. And,
Of course, they can see most of it, right?
include much more in the bi-weekly update that will go out this afternoon. But as you had mentioned there, we have officially gone vertical on the framing of the police department side of the structure. So that's going up rapidly. We'll continue to coordinate interior items. We started off with looking at laminate colors and coordinating in windows and paint colors, etc. So we're thrilled with their progress. They continue to stay ahead of schedule, which is all good news, and of course within budget. So again, I'll provide much more detail as far as specifics on subcontractors and trade, on the job site. But again, this is, I think I say this every time, but please coordinate to go out there often, because a lot of changes are occurring, and it's just a really neat opportunity that you don't get very often for such a steadfast building in our community, a town hall. It's a very joyous occasion, I think, every time you can go out there and visit the site. So just let me know. I'm happy to coordinate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is looking good.
It is, yeah.
I don't know whether the police are holding a gun on them or something. I don't know why they working on that part.
Chief said they have been doing some drive-bys, make sure they're working out there.
I was out there Tuesday morning.
Okey doke. And, okay, advanced metering and infrastructure presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will ask our Utilities Director, Mr. Price, to give you a presentation. I believe most of you know about the Advanced Meter Infrastructure, or AMI. In a nutshell, it would potentially replace our meters with smart technology, giving accurate reads, but Mr. Price can certainly go into more detail for you and answer any questions.
Appreciate it, Mayor, Council. Advanced Meter Infrastructure, or AMI, is the latest technology in meter reading. As many of you senior council members know, back in 2006 we went through a similar program called AMR. Those meters are now 14 years old, no longer accurate. As a result, we are suffering a 30% water loss from what we put out of our plant and what is being metered for. That is a huge revenue change. The life of a meter is 10 years. So we are looking to replace the meters anyways. It makes sense to go ahead and go with the newer technology and provide more data to our citizens. Any of you that don't know, this is our, you know, Henry? This is typical data collection. You got your meters, you got 3 ways to collect it. Either you walk, driver program writes down each meter, which we used to do before 06. The drive-by, or AMR, that we do now. And AMI, it collects automatically every hour on data. It goes into a database that makes it usable, then it goes into our billing software. Just to give you the history of the program, from 1969 to 2006, there's a walk reading. Guys really been over 3,000 times right now reading. That took 100 man-hours to type that data. From 06 to 2000, we transitioned to AMR for 5 years. It took 40 hours to type that data. Since 2010, when we finished AMR switchover, it took 16 hours. Under EMI, there would be no meter reader. It'll automatically be uploaded into a database every hour on hour and stored for 96 days. The benefits, like I said, the biggest one is the 30% water loss. We're looking to recapture that. There's a lot of money that we're not collecting. This is due to the age of our meters. Under the current program, like I said, it just feeds back into the water loss. Everybody in town will get a new meter. It results in increased revenue. The labor savings, like I said, there'll be no more guys driving around collecting this stuff. It'll automatically be collected and stored in the cloud. Transparency. This is a big one. Every month, we get a certain number of residents who say there's no possible way I could have used that much water. Under this new plan, they could literally, at the council elects, log into a portal and see every hour for the last 96 days what they used. It has saved a lot of heartache for the people at town hall having to answer those calls and explain to them how they use that water.
Right, that's a question.
Yes, sir.
If someone has a leak, will that system
Yes, sir.
and somebody notify them that they got a leak?
Yes, so that's another benefit I didn't include on here. Since we begin to read every hour automatically, it will flag it, and we get notified them to get it fixed or turn it off if we can't get a hold of them. I didn't put that in there because our water usage is so frequent that while we get a lot of flags the first year, a lot of these rental houses look like they have a leak based on readings. You know, everybody comes off the beach at the same time and it looks like a leak. But that is a possibility out of the workouts and things. Like I said, that's the main benefit of collecting every hour, just a continuous data stream. If the town elects, we could turn that information over to them, they can log into a portal and watch it themselves. If not, we go with the traditional system where they gotta call in and get the data. And depending if the council elects, we could actually share this technology with other people, such as emergency management. I don't see James. Hi, James. Or the JOMAC. The JOMAC wanted to share this data with us. We could actually lease it to them, and they could offer the same citizens to their same service to their citizens, where they can look every hour. This is a big one I'm going for. Most of the companies offer a 15-year warranty. So if that meter goes bad, it ain't reading, it's automatically replaced 15 years on their dime, not ours. That's that would make it a lot easier with budget, knowing that we got these meters good for 15 years. Installation is going to take about 6 months. Under AMR, it took 5 years. That's how much technology has evolved. Disadvantages. This isn't cheap. It's going to cost $2 million spread out over 10 years. The service contract, which I recommend, this is a very high-tech situation. I'd rather not have town staff doing it, not to downplay town staff, but this is a technological thing. I'd rather have the company oversee it. $45,000 a year. And because we are going to be recapturing the 30% water loss, people will see higher bills because we can pay for what they actually use. This is a chart. Like I said, keep in mind that we're suffering a 30% loss.
It's like,
What does that equate
Had to
to?
look fast.
Equate to in dollars. It is hard to say that accurately because it depends. Maybe do a quick calculation.
I don't need to know now.
Yeah, I can get that information for you. I get that finished.
Yeah, that's fine, I just want to do a cost benefit analysis over the $2 million
Well,
over 10 years plus the 45,000 service per year, right?
this is what I did for you here.
Okay.
No, together.
So it's 2 million plus
And-
45,000. Okay.
And I've already calculated that here based on this information. If y'all can give me something else, you can do this. If we're only starting on 5% loss, or we lose the money for the 10th year, then we gain a lot of money. If we're stuck at 7 or 10% loss, we probably make money right from day one. We're stuck in a 30% loss, but we don't know how much of that is due to meter error, and how much is due to aging system. It's all very conservative. Like I said, so either way, the town will be making money on this deal if we do.
And we did, was that part of the budget, I thought? Was that included in the budget?
This is part of the CIP, the capital projects, if they wanted to do this. The meters need to be changed out, just because they're not accurate. It just depends, do we want to embrace this new technology, or do we want to stick with what we have? The quest action for today is whether we want to move in this direction, start taking bids and award it based on council's desire. Is if we want to go ahead and set up a web-based portal for the citizens so they can look at the bill in real time. And if we want to get a technology that can be utilized by other utilities. And so if y'all can come to a consensus on that, I'd appreciate it. That kind of give us staff direction of movement.
So the transparency thing, your middle bullet, that's part of the cost already?
That's part of negotiation. Like I said, 2 million is a rough estimate.
Yeah.
Like I said, that will increase it a little bit, but it's not a huge. I think it's about $5,000 charge on top of it to set up that portal.
It's gonna wind up saving the town money, so we don't have to go out, you don't have to go out every month and try to figure out how much water we lost. That will calculate our water, it'll get our water losses back
Yes.
there where it should be, and it'll help, once the consumers get their new meters, then you can adjust your water usage according to what you want your bill, basically.
Yeah, and Bryce, I was just going back through it. The water revenues are about what we budget for or forecast for is about 2 million with the rate schedule that we're looking at. So 30% is going to be about $500,000 plus to capture that back.
But if we're going to make the change, I'd say going with the new technology makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
And the consumer, just as an idea, can opt in to see their bill real time, maybe with a fee, small in nature, to recoup that. Just a thought.
Yeah, there's you know, I'd have to look into that to see if there's a quote-unquote technology fee that could be applied to it. The way that we wanted to look at this is with whomever vendor, we got to put a request out, but whomever vendor would look at this, it's very important for us that there's a return on the investment from us, and that's really the selling point for us. A with the conservation measures, of course, but then B is that over time we will recapture the expenditure.
Yeah.
So it's beneficial for us, and again with the AMR meters, one of the bigger things with our utilities department is that we then gain back that employee who has to go around with the handheld device to capture. I mean, you think about driving up and down everywhere in town to get that read. So there's multiple benefits, but of course this is why I wanted Price to bring this to you so that you can understand everything behind AMI and what impact it will have, because it will have an impact. It's not just changing out a meter.
Right.
Yeah.
There could be.
Well, I mean, we can figure our water loss.
Yes.
But exactly how much of it is meter problems and how much of it is leakage of some of our older system,
Yeah.
is not exactly known, right?
Yeah.
We do have some history on there. Back in 2010, when we finished AMR switchover, we were keeping track then. And from that time, we decreased the loss to replicable performance, and we were 4% loss. So a lot of it is going through the meters. It's just, at this time, you can't pinpoint an exact percentage.
Right, okay.
Be one step closer to buttoning up the system a
Right,
little bit.
yeah.
Good.
Would our employees install the meters, or would
No,
our
that-
contractor?
No, that's part of the contract. That's, I'm not gonna say it's a mistake, because is what needed to be done back then, but when we switch AMR, employees switch that every meter, and it took 5 years. This would be part of the contract where they go around and switch out the meters and GPS it, and that'll feed into our GIS coordinator. That way we have real-time locations where that meter's at. So there's a lot of other fringe benefits that go along. So that's part of, whoever wins the bid, that'll be part of it as they switch it out.
This is a win-win situation.
Sounds like it to me.
Is it general consensus to move forward with the program?
I'm going.
All in favor of moving forward with getting bids, okay?
But we need to make sure you tie, whoever gets the bill, you need to tie them down and have it in writing, their deadline on getting these meters done and how many meters they gonna do in such and such a period, so they're not lagging on putting these meters in, and we get these meters in, so the quicker we get these meters in and GPS them and get them on our GPS, the better off the town's gonna be.
Yes, sir. Something that's consistent with all bidders is they don't get paid until the system's
Right.
completely changed out and operational. So if they're investing money up front and they're taking their time, that's hurting them.
Hey, David, I got a question for you. In your research with this, did you, or have you spoken to other municipalities that have done this? Are they satisfied with that?
Yes and no, sir. The ones that went with the contract at $45,000 a year, they love it. It's freed up personnel to do more technological things within the utility department, and it's cut their system down. Like I said, most of them average between a 10 to 15% gain in revenue. That's why I stuck with the numbers I did for my study.
Yeah.
The ones that decided to go and save a little bit of money and do it themselves and run the system themselves, they hate it. And was one of the big reasons why I made that recommendation.
Okay.
A lot of people try to save a little bit of money with the $45,000 a year, and they don't understand the technology.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else got any more questions? So we do have a consensus to go ahead with taking bids.
Yes, sir. Can I get a consensus on whether to, because these other two play into what that bid looks like? Do I have a consensus on whether to make it a portal available?
Yeah. I mean, for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And the last one, this just plays into the bids as well, because it's two different kind of technologies, either one that can be used by everybody or one that's strictly for this. It just goes into the bidding process.
what is the advantage of it?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, if you don't mind asking, the ones that you bid by, we will actually buy them on frequency, or on radio frequency. We will own that at the ours, and in turn we will lease that out to emergency management and Joe Mac and so on and so forth. The other option is use public frequencies, which opens it up for interruptions, interference. Under those, we can't lease those out because we don't own them. They're public. It's just different bands. So like I said, the ones that we could utilize and lease out of the utility, we will actually own that frequency. The other option is you don't own it and we all share it.
And there's a difference in cost, obviously.
We need to own it, because if you depend on somebody else, they're liable to not be maintaining their system like they should, and then we have it's out.
Councilman Helms, my main concern is legal. If someone's got a stronger signal than us and we're sharing frequency, is that going to interrupt our collection of data?
Yeah.
That'd be my concern, but like I said, I'm not an electrical engineer, so that's just off the cuff.
I think we need to own it. That way we can control it, and if we have to lease, like the Jones Onslow, we can charge him a fee.
Anybody else on that?
I agree.
I'm good.
On
You
the
agree?
first,
Yeah.
You agree? Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your work on it. Okay, we do have an offer, right?
Yes, sir, we do.
Not much, but we do.
So as you know, moving on to the police department building and property, have put that out, advertised it, website, et cetera, and elected to move forward in an upset bid process. We did receive a bid at 1.925 million for the entire property, including the building. This is short of what the town acquired and constructed everything for, and certainly would fall short on the financing portion of the new town hall, and specifically the police department side. So from a business standpoint, we're cutting ourselves a little short on it. I'd recommend us explore other options moving forward with this. As we had discussed before, we can elect to reject all bids at the end of any of these processes. It's just if we do reject this, what actions do we want to take to move forward? We have really the public sale of property at this dollar amount is you only have two options, which is the upset bid process or a sealed bid process. We can move forward in a sealed bid process, establish a date in which we would collect bids again, and then I bring those to you, or we can continue on with an upset bid process. Either way, we can move forward the way that we have by just having it out there and myself working with individuals who have interest. I do have something scheduled next week again on this property to take a look at it, or we could go a professional route of potentially looking at somebody to sell the property, a realtor to assist the town in doing that. It's really up to council and what you want to do with it. But as far as the order of business today, I think it would be prudent to respectfully reject the bid at 1.925. Let's give this just a couple of more months to see where we're at with it. But you know, we do want to see something that gets the property out the books. That way we can apply that towards a new town hall project.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I just question, what's the fair market value, do you know?
Well, we received the appraisals on, which are a little bit dated at this point, was about 3.75.
Okay.
And then, you know, we do have outstanding debt service on the police department from the construction of that from 2007 that we're just about to clear that off.
Yeah.
But, that's at about 200,000, I believe, off the top of my head.
Can we put this property up for sale bid and put a number they got? We will not take any lower than a certain amount.
I could advertise it that way, that the town is requesting that, and we might not get any bids, but it's safe to set that at 3 million.
Yeah.
Are we going to get that? And that's the good thing about the upset bid process is that if we get a bid, we can continuously work upon that. It's a unique piece of property, so it hasn't been, you know, it's not like selling a house, I guess.
Right.
We have a lot of interest from those types of buyers.
Do we have a motion to reject?
I make the motion, we reject that
I
bid.
second that.
Second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion's carried. Okay, now, I'd like to see, ask the town manager to, go ahead and investigate other methods, even maybe see a way that we can get it distributed out a little wider area, than just locally, to see if we've got some people interested in it. And we could do it ever how he wants to do it, with a sealed bid or with and I don't know about putting a cap on it. I don't know which way would be best.
Well, if you put a cap on it on a sealed bid, they gotta be at least that much, or their bid's no good. And we explore that option, and if we don't get any sealed bids, and we've got this, I think we need to put it out. I'm like you, Mayor. I think we need to put it out more than locally, put it out statewide, and say we're gonna take sealed bids and put a cap on the sealed bid and see if we get it. I mean, why not? We're not losing anything, wouldn't you say? You're the realtor, not me.
Well, I had spoke to Kyle about, if you were to put it into some type of MLS, I wouldn't limit it just to a commercial MLS, because like the regional MLS, it basically runs from the Outer Banks down to South Carolina, North Carolina line, over towards Fayetteville. Any agent that has their license can get on that site and search for properties, whether they be commercial or, commercial land, commercial buildings, residential. So you have a much larger population that would see it, than it was for sale.
Yeah.
Which would mean that we would need to, pay a commission, at least to the buying, the selling agent, which would cost us a little money, but it would, get what you pay for.
Right. Don't you think that's the way to go?
Absolutely. I think it would help reduce the sale.
Yeah.
I would need to put together sort of a request for qualifications. The dollar amount on that percentage would most likely warrant probably a formal submittal. But it is for professional services, so we do select based on qualifications and not just the lowest bidder per se. So I can put that together. It'd probably just be a one-pager, maybe two at the most. And a majority of that probably is describing the property that potential interested realtors would be looking at. What are they getting themselves into per se? So I can do that. And is it generally agreeable that if we get somebody on board, then we will move forward in a sealed bid process and method? Or would you like for me to sort of coordinate with whomever that individual might be that works on this property to get their professional judgment on it?
Yeah.
And we don't need to pigeonhole ourselves today, but I can sort of work that and seek advice and get it out there.
I'd like to see, because I think most of the local people that would be interested in it already know about it.
Yeah.
So I think if they were really, willing to invest that much in it, then they would have made some kind of, offer on it anyway. So I think we're going to need to spread it out a little wider than what we have in order to get what we need to get out of it. And get a fair price out of it.
Sure.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll turn it over to Kyle to work on
Yeah,
that.
hopefully I can, 45, 60 days, be back here with some, I hope, back here with something, but.
Right.
Again, I think there's interest out there. I think people are trying to test the waters a little bit, and then, who knows? I might have something before we even start this. I'm not
Well, it
sure.
might be, but if they know we're getting ready to get serious on it, they might
Absolutely.
start giving some serious bids.
I agree. Well, I'll keep everybody updated, of course, on that and see where we go with it.
Thanks.
Which, like I told that first bid guy, I said, I don't blame you.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, okay, all right. Now we need to go into a public hearing. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
I make a motion, we go into public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Okay. We are now in a public hearing on utility rates. So is there anybody here that would like to speak on the utility rates? Police department, all right, the public works, all right. I know you are, Dave.
Did we have any?
What about our finance officer? Okay, Kyle, you got what you want to say?
Well, this is, we discussed this in our last council meeting. The proposal, it does include a 12% increase for our baseline, and then conservation signal that provides a more steady increase for the higher tiers for usage. This rate structure, does settle things out a little bit on those higher tiers, but also keeps us in line with having viable rates for future borrowing and future investment into our utility system, which is of utmost importance on a utility system that we constantly have to maintain to be able to provide that service to our citizens. If it was something that we put in the ground and don't ever worry about it, that would be one thing, but it is something that does require that constant maintenance, constant capital investment into the system, and these rates help keep us viable as demonstrated through our financial forecasting and rate structure over the next 10 years or so. So that's what we have. Mr. Price, I do commend him and his staff for putting this together in a format that's been easily communicated to not only council but interested citizens who've shown interest in our water and sewer rate structure. So I do want to thank them publicly for all the work that they've done on this.
This also includes the fees for permits. It includes all of it.
This is just water and sewer rates, and then also too, I will note that we did include the extra jurisdictional rate for the sewer, which is essentially out of municipal jurisdiction. If somebody requests that sewer, their rates will be doubled, and that helps offset the cost if we're not providing the water, that we can recoup that. So the fee schedule that you have in you is the full fee schedule. However, you should have a highlight with just the utility. So that's all that's changed. We're updating the fee schedule to be in a little more legible format, and we'll get that with the changes on the website once that's been amended.
So what I failed to ask last time we had this in front of us was for an example of the rate. Is this for business X? With the new rate, it's this. And the example, what brought us here, I think, was a specific business that contacted me and said, my bill went from $1,500 to $2,800. That was a $1,300 increase per month. So what I would want to see is that example to see kind of where it's at, so they know what to expect as an impact.
Sure. Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot pull up our folder with those breakdowns
Yeah.
into each tier. What I thought we had talked about with.
Yeah, I'm for it.
say
I'm
the
for it.
100.
I want to be prepared. So I
Absolutely.
can go back and communicate with this individual. This is what we
Absolutely.
did.
I will resend that spreadsheet that shows that 12% with conservation,
Yeah.
which is broken down into, we'll say for the business side, the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, up to 100,000.
Yeah,
And then they can, all we have to do is you look at the water and what that would be, say at 100,000, and the sewer, add that up. What was the $3,000 bill, I think comes back to 1,800, 2,200 or something like that. But I'll resend that out.
I just want one example, that one specifically if you can. And then the other thing is, are we willing, this is the harder decision I think, are we willing to say for that 1 month, this is what it would be under this rate that we approve, and then are we gonna give them the difference as a credit?
Yeah, that's completely up to council. I don't know if I have authority to make adjustments like that based
Yeah.
on a prior rate schedule. If, I will go out on a limb, and if council says to direct me to make adjustments, I will look into it legally.
Yeah.
And then if I can, I will. But that's totally a policy decision up.
Yeah,
to
my
you
position
guys.
would be to go that route for this 1 month where they were overcharged. We revisited the rate, we approve it now. I think it would be fair to give them a credit for the difference, my opinion.
You said townwide.
What's that?
Townwide.
I need to get y'all out of the public hearing section, close this public
Right,
hearing.
yeah,
and
we
need
did,
to get back
yeah.
to the open session
Okay.
for this discussion. and
Good to go.
policy to take place.
All right.
Yeah, because this is not part of the public
This is
hearing.
not
You said
part of it.
townwide.
Okay, do I
I
have
make
a motion to close the public
close
hearing?
the public.
Yeah, Tom.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Okay,
Yeah, buddy.
motion carried.
I just,
All right, well, we'll let you look into that and see what the legality would be.
Okay, I will do that, and then
Going back.
I'll communicate with council, and I'll set, we'll look at that 30,000 plus range, and I'll send you a synopsis as to what that would look like, what that monetary number would look like as well, and then to finish
Yeah,
that
you
up.
had sent that out.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had that.
I'll resend it, but then we'll do some calculation
Yeah,
to
'cause
go back.
I called 2 or 3 of them. I called 2 or 3 of them and told them what it would be
with the new rate.
with the new rate, and they thought it was great.
Fair.
I called Shaka Taco and
Yeah.
Steve, and I think I called
Jason.
Jason, yeah.
Yeah. So, but to Buddy's question, the credit I was talking about would be townwide across the board,
Yeah,
not just one individual
Okay.
business.
All
It's
right.
for everyone.
Yeah, I'll look for all rates or 30,000 plus. Because that's where the
That's where the
impact
problem was.
was.
Yeah, 30,000
Yeah,
plus.
okay, well then we'll investigate, I'll get something sent out to council about
Okay,
it.
thanks.
Yep.
all right. Anything else on that?
I need a motion to approve
Fee schedule?
the fee schedule as presented.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve it.
I second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Okay. All right. Now, I don't think let's see, do we need to approve anything on the park?
Yeah, I mean, it's on the agenda, we can go ahead and move forward with it to approve the park name that was recommended from the Recreation Advisory Committee. This is for the new land that was purchased adjacent to the community center. Unfortunately, we wanted to have the family down this morning, but with the weather impending yesterday and weren't sure about that carrying over to today, traveling to Surf City was in question. So what I told them is that if council moves forward in approving this, we will still go back and reschedule and have
Have a
a
ceremony
have a
for it
formal
later on.
ceremony, and we'll reorder the cupcakes and get
Right,
this scheduled.
okay.
And, hopefully, we will keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully, we have an announcement this afternoon on a potential grant that would even make that a better deal. So I don't want to jinx any of that, but you know, we're keeping our fingers crossed for that. So.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the naming of the recreational places, Earl G. Batts Recreational Complex?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, raise your hand. So moved. And so anyway, that's going to be a nice addition. And this is the part that will have the skate park on it.
Yes.
And other ball fields and volleyball courts, is that right?
Got sand volleyball, 100% inclusive playground.
Right.
And we'll relocate the 18-hole disc golf course to this land.
That's right, the disc golf course will be moved to that property too. So everything will basically be in that large complex there, so that.
Yeah, and this will provide an opportunity. You know, the park naming concept is fairly new, but in regards to a formalized process, but this will open up opportunities for additional naming for just the individual parks within the complex as well. So we
Right.
could have the skate park named something, and
Right.
the community center.
Ever who wants to donate the money.
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah, anybody willing to build a park inside this, it'll be named after you.
That's right, that's right.
Mayor, on the same note with that park, I'd like to thank Chad Merrick, his staff, and Kyle for working with the Batts family, especially the Batts family in obtaining this property for the citizens of Surf City. It's going to serve the Surf City for many years to come, and I think they're going to be very appreciative of what it's going to do for the community.
Yeah.
I agree. Very important project here, so.
Before we close, Mayor, I was hoping Amy was here. I received two communications this morning, one from Susan Del Grosso and Renee Hill of 409 Triton Lane and 405. That's over in Triton Village, the complex that's near and around Salty Turtle, Coastal Wings, you know. So the construction that's going on the backside of that is adversely impacting those residents in flooding. This morning, they woke up to like mudslide and water on their back patios. And this isn't due to the rain, because they said they've been there for many, many years, and Florence didn't give them that amount of water. And so whatever the construction that's going on there, we would probably need to take a look at what they're doing and see if we can mitigate the adverse effects on those residents.
Yep.
That's all I'd bring up.
I will pass that along and ask her to look into.
Thanks.
Mayor,
Yes.
I don't know how many people know it, but we might need to do a plaque or some kind of dedication to Bob Chase that passed away. We didn't know it, but he passed away September the 8th, and we didn't know it until this week. And he was our first fire chief.
Yeah.
And see if we can get our next council meeting, get the family in here and present them a plaque or something on his passing. He's been fighting cancer, stomach cancer. Yeah, different. He beat it twice. He couldn't beat it the third time. And he passed away on the 8th. And we didn't know it. And I contacted some of the people that live near him. They didn't even know it. So I think it would be right for the town. It would be the right thing for the town to do some kind of plaque or something for him.
Okay, we'll try to have some kind of presentation ready by the meeting next month for the regular monthly meeting.
Right.
Okay. Right. Okay. All right. Anything else? Yes, Mr. Jeremy.
I would like to ask the mayor and the council if they would consider directing Kyle to look into personal devices first, like laptops or iPads for the future. I know Stephanie's been emailing my packet over to me, and I think it's really good, but I don't like keeping the stuff on my personal stuff. So they're super inexpensive. It's not that I can't afford one. I just think that city business should stay on a city notepad or an iBook. So I'd like if you guys don't mind directing it, if you don't want to do that, that's fine, but I'd like to see what your thoughts are on that real quick. I think it's technology. It provides us with a little upper hand. So I want to see what your thoughts were, and if you have any input.
David.
I don't have a problem with that. I think we'd be better off with an iPad a computer, laptop than an iPad.
I don't care what it is. I just want to see what your thoughts were.
Okay.
That's all.
And I'm prepared to present information on it. The teammate like Jason, we got this
Jason
stuff
will be-
already
Jason will do it.
prepared. So if it's okay, I'll go ahead and present it to you real quick, and then if we do have consensus, we'll just go ahead and
Okay.
move forward with it.
All right.
So this was brought up, and I knew we were going to certainly move in this direction with the new town hall, where we have a more stable location than here at the Welcome Center. But what I asked IT staff is to sort of put together some pros and cons as to potential different options. So what we looked at was a Windows-based platform, something that we would have accessible, that file, drop, etc., that we can remotely manage, pushing out your agendas, making adjustments, or what am I trying to think of, with Apples or cell phones, updates. So what we had here is what we pulled was the first thing being a Windows laptop, which would be a 2-in-1 device per se. This could come in the form of, we have a Lenovo Flex 14 that really serves as a tablet, but also a computer, a laptop. What I would envision with this is that we would have a folder set up on your desktop where we would just push the agenda and supporting information. This would also allow me to enhance my communication with council through platforms like OneDrive, where I can share folders with you. I can have much more better capabilities of putting a PowerPoint in there, or putting those Excel sheets that we can collaborate even on, and put comments in there and we can respond to it. So, I hate to say that I'm sold on this already, but I am. But the other option would be to move towards an iPad solution, which I'm sure you probably are all familiar with if you do have Apple products. I don't know anything about Apple.
I don't either.
Very very limited. But this does require a physical interaction between IT and the device to do some of that regular maintenance. So that's kind of where I'm sure they're fine computing machines, but I've sort of kind of gone away from this. I would recommend we go towards a Windows solution, and we can get those through our state contract provider. And then you all would be already set up for when we do make the move, and we have much more improved technology for not only you but for our citizens in interacting with it. So
Get rid of this paper.
we would only print upon request. Stephanie can just drop that file into the folder, and it's automatically shared with you. You get a little notification that it's been dropped, and you're ready to go. So moving into some high-tech stuff here, but nonetheless, thank you, Jason, for putting this together. And if you do want to go through the pros and cons, I will be more than happy to email it out to you. Or if you trust trust in me, in which I trust in Jason, that we would go ahead and just execute this program.
Well, she sends it to us on our phone, but that strains your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the computer would be a larger screen for us older folks, and you too. And it would be easier and Jason can actually he can go into those computers.
Yeah.
And basically, if you have a problem, he can fix the problem.
Yep.
And Jason?
This is probably a 15-inch screen, maybe. So it'd be just be an inch smaller than this. So it is a
That's
pretty,
fine. You don't
pretty
want it to be.
healthy.
The flip over one, so it goes to the touchscreen directly, or is it just?
Yeah, it would look like this if it was in the computer mode, or then it just folds over. Yep.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah.
The first option,
Yep.
Microsoft, although I'm an Apple guy, but
Yep.
for the team, I think it'd be great.
Yep. And I think it's a Lenovo product that we would look at. This is a Lenovo laptop, but it
In
would
10
be
hours, that ought to make it through our meeting.
10 hours. Yeah. I hope so. So okay, well, very good. We'll go ahead and get that knocked out then, and get those set up. So.
You good?
Yep. Do we need a motion on that?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's just general purchasing.
All right. Everybody in agreement?
Yes.
All right.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
You do?
Yep.
Or you want to get to the,
If we're
you want
done,
to get to the cupcakes or something?
yes.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
All in favor, raise your hand, get up and leave, whichever you want to do.
Well, I'd be remiss. Today is the conclusion of our Employee Appreciation Week, I
Right.
guess. Kind of started on Wednesday. I wanted to just special thanks to the committee who I tasked with. I knew this was something I wanted to stay away from as much as possible. So I asked each department to delegate one person to serve on the committee, and they have been faithfully meeting over the last couple of months to make sure this gets put together. Also, as we'll see this afternoon, our local businesses in the community have really stepped up to show their appreciation for town staff. They have donated, I don't even know what they've donated, but I know they've donated a ton of really good stuff for employees. So that's awesome for our community and for the business community to do that for staff, and hope they enjoy this afternoon. I know they've got a good program set up.
Is that a first for us?
This is a first for us. Typically in the past, we have done a small picnic type, it used to be a large scale picnic where we'd get together and play baseball and softball and things of that nature into teams, and over time and workloads, it seems as it's just drifted away. So we were tasked with coming up with something different this year that would be a team building exercise. So staff has gone above and beyond, and our local businesses have been amazing to donate food, prizes, gift cards, all kinds of stuff for to be raffled off back to employees, and then we'll do service awards to kick off right before we have catered lunch. So,
Good job.
yeah, should be a good event.
If you have signed up for cornhole, I hope you rested up last night. I think it's going to be a fierce competition out there on the beach.
There was an agenda passed out yesterday afternoon that just gave a short run through of what we'd be doing right at the start off, because we got to have a little bit more structure due to COVID to begin with, and then it'll be on from there.
Good job. Thank you.
And that starts at 12.
At 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
So as soon as we vacate, they're going to be decorating.
Let's go.
Yep. That's it.